Hello and welcome to the Talkin Bits podcast. I am your host, Michael Rose, and with me is Banana Head himself.
Yep.
Nathaniel Booher.
Me. Yeah.
How are you?
Back. I'm good. I want you to know that my stepdad and my mom have recently taken a liking to the Talkin Bits pod.
Oh, that's
They've
good. That
been-
makes me
yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
like adults listen to our show.
Well, they like it. Well, they're young, teenage pregnancy. Shout out to mom. She's gonna love that. But they're young and they're cool and they listen. But they enjoy the fact that you've been calling me Banana Head. That was one of the
feedbacks.
One of the feedbacks that
I like
got
it.
from them. Yeah,
I'll take that.
They
as
do.
feedback.
They watch it while they work out together, which feels like not where you want to hear our goofy asses talking about white
Whatever.
trash family history
Well, that was
or
a fun
whatever.
segment.
That was a good
fun.
one. We'll get back into that.
I want to shout out Joe Bridges real quick. So somebody
course.
commented on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that comment thread that Joe
Yeah, there's a bunch.
did for us? No, somebody commented, was like, we're episodes 1 through whatever without video.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe was like, oh, they didn't get video to this point. You'll have to look at it on Spotify. And this guy was like, I don't have Spotify. And Joe was like, all right, well,
It's free. You
that's
just, yeah.
like, it was like,
That's
okay,
all right.
yeah. It just made me laugh when I saw it.
Joe's
Anyway.
out there on our marketing team for our YouTube. Yeah.
Joe really exceeds like the pay he gets for that role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's good talent. Right
Oh,
there.
also, yeah. So I called mom yesterday for something else. I called my mother, and she said hello, and I was like hello, and then the first words out of her mouth were, "I was just getting ready to call you," and I was like, "Why?" She never calls me, and I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "'Cause you fucked that joke up," and I was like,
Oh, which one?
What? And she goes, "You really fucked up that racist joke," and I was like,
Yeah,
this
you
is a
made
weird
it. You
sentence.
made it seem very racist, and it really did not come off.
Well,
as,
no, her complaint was it's supposed to be much longer, and there's actually 3 quizzes. And for anybody listening, in the last episode, I told a dad joke, street joke, whatever, that my grandpa and my mom both told me at separate times in my life.
not to tell.
Both
also.
of which said not to tell.
And now your mom is mad that you didn't tell it correctly.
Right. I thought when she said, I got to, whatever, you messed up on the last episode, I thought she was going to be like, you weren't supposed to tell. No, her complaint was I didn't tell it right. So anyway, she's going to be on soon to come in and tell the
I ran into your mom at Olive Garden, and we took a picture and sent it to you while you were doing a Don't Tell show.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's happened
Not Olive Garden,
a lot in my
but it was an
lifetime.
Italian restaurant. It's okay. Hey, would you rather sweat mayonnaise or sweat maple syrup?
Ugh.
Just going to dive in.
What a disgusting segment
You
you
gotta
just
pick.
led us into.
You got to pick. Which one would you rather?
I guess maple syrup, but would you just be sticky all the time? Like, what
Yeah.
about flies? I guess that'd be the same for mayonnaise, right?
Yeah. I hated this.
Which one's more practical?
I don't know.
I'd say, well,
mayonnaise is disgusting to me, so I'm going maple syrup.
on a daily basis, I probably consume more mayonnaise than I do maple syrup, though. So I would just have a
Fair.
limitless supply of mayonnaise.
Yeah. So would you eat the mayonnaise that you excreted?
Don't use that word.
Like, I feel like
excreted is gross.
that's like the right word for that,
Where?
right?
What part of my body is it being excreted
Where do you
from?
sweat
I
from?
guess that
I mean, everywhere, right?
primarily my.
I'm a back sweater personally.
you?
I am.
Mhm.
This is not
I
the
can see
segment I
that.
thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is the sweating segment.
I'd go for maple syrup
Why? Why maple syrup? What's your?
because mayonnaise is disgusting.
Oh, you just don't like.
I don't like mayonnaise.
Do you like Miracle Whip? Because that
That's like whipped cream, right?
sort of. That's what it tastes like. Yeah, it's a sandwich spread that's supposed to replace mayonnaise, but it's
Oh,
terrible.
no. I'm good.
I had a neighbor growing up. Nice dude. Loved him to death.
I had a neighbor
My
growing up, too.
Only friend. Yeah, isn't that weird? Only friend. Literally my only friend when I was a kid. But his family was pretty out there. Pretty weird. You know, you ever like go to a friend's house and you're like, you guys are polar opposite than my family.
yeah.
Never. I mean, his dad.
You ever
lived
go
there.
to-
It was weird.
You ever go to a friend's house and then like you're supposed to be there for like 6-7 hours and you just call your mom immediately like, hey, I don't
Yeah.
want to be here anymore.
I got in a fight with him one time when we were kids, and we lived out in the middle of the woods. It was just us, and we got in a fight one time, and I remember that my mom broke it up. She like came outside when we were fighting, and it was the summer, and I had to go to this like daycare facility thing every day because she had to work and was in school and all that. And I remember her saying like, well, you guys can fight, but then that means you have to go to daycare tomorrow instead of staying at his house with his family. And I was like, I forgive you. I'm over it.
Maybe
Like,
we don't fight anymore.
Just to not go to daycare. Yeah.
Yeah.
But his family was real out there. They were real different. And they always had Miracle Whip. I remember that about them. They were a Miracle Whip household through and through. And it's terrible. It's so
not
gross.
where I thought that story was going. No,
It's
I'm
gross.
not a big fan of sandwich spreads. Would you rather sneeze glitter or burp confetti?
This is a terrible segment. I
sorry.
don't like to sneeze at all. So probably burp confetti actually sounds kind of fun because I can make myself
I think
burp.
that
So
would be
just
what I
on
would
cue
do.
to be at parties.
Happy
and be
birthday.
Like, yeah. That would actually
be kind of
That's
fun.
kind of more fun.
Yeah,
and
I think-
again, I feel like confetti has a lot more uses than glitter gets everywhere. If you sneeze glitter, you're just 6 weeks later.
But
you
here's
find
the
it.
thing. Here's the thing.
I don't want
Imagine-
glitter near me even.
Imagine just like getting mad at somebody, keeping a little pepper with you, and then you just sneeze in their car.
Just glitter bomb their car
Yeah.
with sneezing. Yeah.
Go to
I guess
somebody's
so.
office, just start sneezing
I just
everywhere.
don't have that many enemies. It sounds like you got a lot of
I'll
people
make
you want to
enemies.
sneeze glitter into. That's
Imagine
gross.
somebody just like cuts you off in traffic. You follow them to their house. You break in, and you just start sneezing everywhere.
Well, I don't guess I thought through it quite like that. The way that you very, very quickly came up with that scenario.
Do you remember that? It was a couple years ago. Do you remember that person who? It was in like Kingsport, Tennessee, and he got cut off in traffic. Was following this guy, honking the horn, blah blah blah. Dude pulls over who cut him off, and it was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Mhm.
Gets out of the car with a machete and like attacks him with it.
I don't. But does this tie into your Verizon machete story in some way? Is
No.
this-
Have I told that story on the podcast?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it is a joke. I
Have you seen this? That made me think of this. There's one of my favorite videos on the internet. Do you know
That
who
was in
Cowboy
Kingsport also.
Cerrone is?
Anyway, who?
Cowboy Cerrone.
I do not. Should I
He-
Google him or no?
Well, he used to fight for the UFC. That's all you need.
Okay.
He's a jack dude. He was a lightweight champion, like one of the coolest fighters of all time. And there's a video of him pumping gas at this gas station. And this guy pulls up next to him, and he goes, "Hey, man, you fucking cut me off back there. I already get out." And Cowboy, he knows it's Cowboy. And Cowboy turns around and he goes, "And what?" And he goes, and pump your gas for you." And Cowboy starts laughing because he realizes like it's for the video.
Yeah.
Or what? But it's so funny to see like that guy start a fight. That happens all the time. Fighters are in bars and stuff, and people don't know.
And then, yeah.
And some drunk morons like, "Hey, you stepped on my foot," and then they just get fucking flatline. That's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. I
People
think-
messing with professional fighters is so funny.
Should we introduce our guest real quick?
Sure.
So with us today is Jared Hazen.
There he is. Yeah, for our audio listeners, this won't make any sense. Michael's currently holding up a photo of Jared Hazen.
Yep.
That's him today. No, we love Jared. He's going to be on soon. He's not on today. We have no guest today, so
Yeah.
this is not one of those 10-minute cold intros that we were told to stop doing that we continue to do. This is a show. This is us.
it. This is it. We're
We're
riffing.
rolling.
I'm really trying to carry it. Nathaniel forgot that
He's carried it by asking me if I want to sneeze glitter.
Nathaniel forgot that we were on a comedy podcast and is taking
Yeah.
every question very literally. So
I'm just trying to roll. I'm trying to think. I'm a very logical person. I'm trying to think through.
okay, well here's one. Would
According
you
to my
rather have
therapist.
to loudly announce every time you fart, or
Mhm.
have your thoughts appear as a text bubble above your head for everyone to read?
Ooh, that's interesting because it'd be a lot of that'd create some.
I would have to
problems.
announce my fart.
Yeah, I do that already.
Yeah.
I go, "Hey, I just farted." Hey,
Yeah, I let people know.
I
if
do-
it's a good
yeah,
one,
yeah.
if it's a real good
If
one,
it's a good one,
I'll let 'em
yeah.
know.
If
it's-
somebody's asking, like, "Who? Me, sir?"
if
me,
somebody,
yeah.
here's the thing, if somebody asks, I can't own it.
right,
But if they don't ask, I'll own it.
right,
You know what I mean?
yeah, sure.
Like-
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other side, though, the text bubble thing is interesting
I
because
don't think I could do that.
that'd be
Don't think I could
that'd
do it.
create a lot of tension. in my
I don't think I
life.
could do it.
Yeah,
I
my relationship will be over.
I look
immediately.
people in the eye too much and say one thing, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I could kill you. Yeah, like I could.
That's your first thought
No,
when you
I
meet
don't
someone.
know.
I could kill this
No,
person.
I was trying to keep it
We're
politically
slowly uncovering what a psychopath Michael is
Yeah.
on this episode. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
correct. Nathaniel's never been in that room behind us, and there's a reason for it.
That's where he keeps them. Yeah.
It is. That is.
Yeah,
I cleaned out my
pretty-
garage for
Pretty
more room
neat. Cleaned out your garage for more room.
for the bodies.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
For the
For the
bodies.
truck, right?
Yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
mad about that. God dang.
We talked about it. I think,
I
on the
know
show,
we did.
didn't
I'm still mad about that. Every time I look at that damn truck, I'm like, fuck me.
Pretty funny.
So, yeah, I think I would rather yell out. I mean, I'll get a megaphone. I'll yell at my farts. I don't care.
Sure.
I'll go knock on neighbors' doors just to not have my thoughts available to everybody. You know what I mean?
You'll go knock on your neighbor's door.
Like, hey, I was just at my house
Just
and I
to
just
tell them.
wanted you to know.
Just to rat on yourself?
I farted.
That's crazy.
As long as my thoughts aren't above my head. You know?
That's pretty interesting. But wouldn't that be the same result if your thought was, oh, I just farted? Wouldn't that kind of cancel out?
You really are just...
Okay, I'm digging in here.
Yeah.
Here's something I want to ask you because I'm interested in this. Obviously we do a lot of shows. Some of us more than others do a lot of shows.
Me more than you. Yep.
Yeah, open mics, different things. We're in the room with other comics a lot, and one thing that always comes up, at least when I'm in the room, because I'm fascinated by this, is what are some of your influences? What are some of your big names that influence you? And of course we ask that on the show.
Yeah.
What I've gotten into recently is all of these lists that are available of different, New York Times has one different. This one in particular I have not seen that I just found, but it's the greatest comedians of all time.
Oh, I'm
every time I see these lists, I just think that's
I love it.
fascinating because it's
Seinfeld's number one.
Well, rarely is it the same top three.
Yeah.
On the list. Now, generally there's some consistency, like Pryor's usually somewhere in the mix, Carlin, Seinfeld, that kind of stuff. But what is interesting is on this list, and I think that this one is in no particular order, which is not as fun.
No, there's always should be an order.
We'll just say this is the order. They have actually Robin Williams listed.
Okay.
First.
Oh, wait. Okay, never mind.
And
I was going
this
to say
is-
not the greatest of all time, but yeah.
This is top 25 also. And it says
in no particular order. There's a
particular
big
order,
difference
right.
between 1 and 25 on a
Right.
top 25. Anyway.
So, like, on this one, there's Robin Williams is listed first, and then Bill Hicks right below it. And for me, there's a clear distinction between those two, who is far higher, and it's not Mrs. Doubtfire. We'll put it that way. So,
That's a bold take to take on Robin Williams.
Oh, I don't think it is. I think it's pretty accepted that he just stole jokes his entire career. Do you not know this about him?
Never heard that about Robin Williams. I heard that about Jay Leno.
Oh,
I've never
no,
heard
no,
that
no.
about Robin
No,
Williams.
Robin was a pretty notorious joke thief and had some pretty bad habits, and he also wrote on with Richard Pryor, and he was involved in a lot of the roasts and the show that he had for a short time and stuff. But pretty notorious.
Really?
Not a great dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of just
Really disparaging the dead
artistic
today, aren't we?
integrity, there's also a lot of people who hate on him for that style of just that weird, like, sporadic, not really writing. I don't care about that. I'm not saying
I mean,
that.
his job is to make people laugh. He did it.
Right. And I enjoy
So-
his movies. And I think even he's one of the few.
Flubber.
Love it.
That's a good movie.
Love it.
I might watch that with
Flubber.
my daughter tonight.
Jesus, remember Flubber?
I might watch that one with her
Let's
tonight.
take that little booger thing that was like bouncing around, and
That's a good movie.
that's a good one. I forgot about Flubber.
Yeah.
Wow. Took me back. He's an interesting guy. He gets a lot of hate. I don't hate on him for not being funny. He makes me laugh for sure. And especially his movies. I really like them. One of the rare stand-ups though that transitions to drama and does very well at it.
Dead Poets Society.
Good Will Hunting.
Goodwill Hunt. Oh yeah, forget.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Great in that.
yeah. Dead Poets Society was like every English teacher in high schools. Like,
Never seen it.
You've never? Yeah, we went to different high schools. So in high school, every time like an English teacher was like hungover or something, I just assumed.
Oh, right. We
That was
watched,
the movie that we watched.
My favorite English teacher in high school, we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail because we were doing The Crucible.
Oh, that's cool.
And you read The Crucible? It's all about like
Maybe.
witchcraft and
Sure. No, I didn't read
Salem
that.
witch trials kind of shit.
Didn't read that.
Salem witch trials. And so we watched the scene from Monty Python where they're like, "She's a witch, burn her." Good stuff. You've
That's
never
good.
seen Monty
I
Python,
have.
have you?
No, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've seen it.
Well, that wraps up the show. And
I have seen. Listen,
not just the episode. That wraps up the whole show.
I've seen like probably 60% of that movie.
That's not enough.
Probably in high school also.
If
We
you
used to
haven't watched
watch
it 40 times over.
Why am I forgetting the name of this movie right now? It's oh my god.
Wow. This is a great episode.
It is,
This is
dude.
great. Yeah.
It's that movie. It's like the guy sells his soul to the devil to be the greatest guitar player of all time. Soggy Bottom Boys.
Oh, Brother, Where Art
Oh,
Thou?
Brother, Where Art Thou?
Sure.
We've seen that. I've seen that movie.
It's probably my favorite movie of all time.
I've probably seen that movie.
Mhm.
I'm not exaggerating when I say 40 times. And every single time I ever watched that movie was inside of my high school.
That's weird. That's a weird movie to show.
Every single time.
There's a lot of questionable things in there. That movie, for whatever reason, when I was a kid, most kids like cartoons and Barney and shit. I like that movie.
Yeah, of course
because my
you did.
family watched it.
Dude.
No, there's home videos of me with a guitar at like age 2.
After you sold your
just
soul or
banging
before?
the guitar. It was same period.
Yeah.
Banging the guitar and singing those songs in diapers. It's hilarious.
That's a good movie. Dude, I have a playlist on my phone that has one of their songs.
Oh, I have the album on vinyl.
On it. Yeah, of course you do.
I swear to God.
Of course. No, that's just like the most you
It's
think.
one
like,
of the best soundtracks of any movie
Yeah.
ever. It's so good.
You know what movie like I was super into? I was obviously super into like Spy Kids, like Inspector Gadget, stuff like that.
Sometimes people tell me I look like the thumb guards from Spy Kids.
I think I've told you that.
That's pretty hurtful.
I'm pretty sure I've told you that on this
That's
podcast
pretty
before.
hurtful.
Did you ever watch Harriet the Spy?
No.
Dude, I don't even remember anything about that movie, but my parents make fun of me. Apparently, whenever I was like 3, 4, that's the only thing I wanted to watch.
Let's just go into obscure movies from our childhood. That's today's
I watched all 4 Toy Stories in the last week.
They're great.
Bro.
3?
Oh, they're all 4.
How good is 3?
3 is really good. 3 is
really
arguably the best. I don't really like 4.
I thought 4 was good. Everybody hated it.
I don't like it's not a bad movie.
I thought so.
But it's not like it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's very noticeably the worst of the 4.
Sure.
Toy Story 2.
But that's a high
Peak.
benchmark though.
Toy Story 2 might be my
still a
favorite.
great movie.
I love Toy Story 2.
I think Toy Story 4 is special to me because it came out when I was wrapping up my animation degree, and we went to see it, like some of the students, and just technically, it's amazing. Some of the textures, some of the rendering, lighting, all that shit is just...
It looks noticeably better than the others.
Oh, of course.
Well, I mean,
and
also
I
the
think
others were made...
Forky is a great addition. I think
Forky's the best character in the entire
so funny.
series.
He's so funny.
He needed more screen time.
Have you seen his shorts on Disney Plus?
I have not, but that's
Very
what
funny.
OJ and I will be doing. We watched Monsters, Inc. last night.
Classic.
10 out of 10
Holds up.
movie.
Yeah, that's a favorite
Bro,
of mine, too.
This is a PSA. Have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're in your late 20s. Have a kid
Yeah.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
and then give it about a
I
year.
don't think that's how pregnancy works, but go ahead.
Well, if you start trying to get pregnant right now,
Oh,
you know what I'm
Right.
saying? If they're not pregnant currently,
right.
9 months is ideally how long. Anyway,
Isn't it weird how people announce that they're trying?
yeah.
This is not
hey,
an
we're
origi-
fucking.
This is not an original thought of mine, but
No,
I've always thought that's very strange.
I don't like that. We didn't. That's just weird.
Yeah, like at dinner
don't know.
and everybody cheers. And
Yeah.
they're like, family.
Hey,
we'd
we're
like to tell
trying. Get them some
We're
wine.
trying.
You know, like get them some wine.
Everybody clap.
Is there an aphrodisiac here? Anyway,
Pretty weird.
Okay, so but about a year, whenever you know,
Mm-hmm.
then you can start watching like Toy Stories, Finding Nemo.
Or
in
you
the
could
past
just
week.
watch them now
But if you watch them with your kid,
without a kid.
no.
I just watch them now without a
You
kid.
watch.
Imagine
Monsters,
that, but
Inc.,
instead of a kid, Wingstop. to go.
Olivia.
Imagine that.
We ate pizza while we were watching Monster Inc.
There
last
you
night. So Olivia like seeing Boo for the first time and just getting so excited on Monsters Inc.
That's literally me when I see Boo. I'm the same excitement as
so cute. Anyway, where were we talking about?
greatest stand-ups of all time.
Well, I know we were talking about something before I went on a tangent about movies.
Obscure movies from our childhood.
Sure.
What about Nanny McPhee? You ever watch
Nanny
that one?
McPhee.
Nanny Mc.
Is that
That's what it
with
was.
Eddie
Disgusting.
Murphy?
No. Disgusting movie about an old lady with a big wart on her face. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I did watch that. What am I
Weird.
thinking of with Eddie Murphy? I was probably thinking of Daddy
Haunted
Daycare
Mansion?
or Haunted something. I don't remember. Daddy Daycare is a good movie.
Yeah.
Nanny McPhee, I did watch that. Is that Robin Williams? Who was that?
Can't remember.
I don't
It's
remember either.
gross. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Robin Williams, Bill Hicks. Who else? Who else is on this list?
This one is all over the place.
Is it Seinfeld,
really
Michael
what
Rose,
I'm-
Nathaniel Booher?
What I'm really interested in is all the names that you don't know. Like I'm
Okay.
assuming you've never heard of Bill Hicks.
I've heard of Bill Hicks. I couldn't
never
tell you his
listened to
joke.
his
Yeah, I
stuff.
couldn't tell you his
He
joke.
is my roommate's favorite comedian, oddly enough. Like he'll just randomly be like,
Let me look
"Dude,
him
that
up.
Bill Hicks joke." It's older, 70s, 80s,
I'm gonna look
90s.
him up. I've
it's
probably
old.
heard of him. Listen, I've
Oh, it's
probably
great.
seen him.
He's absolutely great. He's one of the definitely belongs on this list. Here's one on this list that I appreciate because he's not on a lot of lists and should be. Gary Shandling.
I know who Gary Shanley is.
Do you know who Gary? Okay.
Oh, I know who Bill Hicks is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen. He has a very funny. If he's who I'm thinking of, he has a very funny, a very very funny joke where he's like juggling and stuff. Might be the wrong guy, but
I don't know if that's him or not.
dude, he died young.
Yeah, he did.
He died at 32.
tragic.
I'm almost 32.
Very tragic.
How did he die? Let's
There's
see
also
if I'm doing it right.
Phyllis Diller. Do you know Phyllis
I don't
Diller?
know if it was-
She was a big icon in the 70s as well, 60s, 70s, and she appeared on a lot of the roasts, like the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast, which if you're listening to this and you're not familiar with those and you like comedy at all, I urge you to go back. Obviously, watch them through that lens. They are from the 70s. You're going to hear some words and things that maybe don't belong in today's lexicon, but in the 70s were very okay and very embraced. Don Rickles is featured on most of those, and he's my absolute favorite.
Do you know how old Phyllis Diller was when she died?
Very, very old.
95.
Yeah, very old. And this list, I know only because I'm looking at it, she actually didn't start her stand-up career until she was 37.
Dang.
Which is kind of unique, I think.
Gives us all hope.
She's definitely a big name in the female comedian space. There's also Tig Notaro, who
I know Tig.
I don't
Tig
find
does
that funny at all.
I'll tell you one thing I like about Tig. I know her more of an actress. I've never seen her do stand-up. I'll tell you one thing that's really cool. I don't know if she still does it, but she used to give her Twitter account to different celebrities, comedians, and celebrities for like a week at a time, and they would tweet. It was very cool.
That's dangerous.
Well, I mean, but like it was very known.
Just
like,
tweet the N-word.
Well, no, it's like this week I'm giving it to.
It's a good thing she never gave it to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's like this week I'm giving it to whoever, right? And then for like however many, I think it was a week at a time they would do. It was very cool. It was like, hey, I'm following all these people, but I'm not really following all these people. And it was like a very cool thing. Yeah. But I know her more as an actor. She was in something I watched recently, like a very small role in something I watched recently. I like Tig.
Yeah, never really found her that great. Patrice, who absolutely belongs on this list. Have you ever seen Patrice? Did you know his?
I'm looking up.
His special is the one Elephant in the Room. One of the greatest specials ever.
Patrice O'Neal?
Yeah. During the pandemic, I got
Patrice
in
also.
a cool space where I was rewatching.
God, he died young too. Jesus Christ.
I was rewatching all of the greatest specials of all time, according to like most lists and stuff. And Elephant in the Room is one for sure. Patrice is notorious as being like he hazed a lot of young comedians who are now very successful.
Yeah.
But in the Boston scene prior to that, there's a hilarious story that Kevin Hart told one time about how when Kevin was just starting out, Patrice was just ruthless to him, and Bill Burr and all of them. Like that scene was very tight and very ruthless. And that one time Kevin was bombing so bad on stage that from the back he just heard boom, and he looked down and there was a phone book on stage with him that someone had thrown, and he was like, what the fuck is this? And from the back, Patrice goes, read it. It'll be funnier than what you're saying right now.
Jesus Christ. That's great.
Yeah,
dude. He was in The Office.
Savage.
You know that?
Yeah, he's one of the warehouse workers.
Yeah. He left.
He actually, I think he passed away during the filming of.
He left his. So I think he left before.
Okay.
His indifference toward Hollywood and desire to be in New York, and then he died of a stroke caused by type 2 diabetes.
Yeah. He had a Ralphie May type ending. A little bit less sad. Dick Gregory, that's an old school one for sure.
I don't think I know Dick Gregory.
Very fantastic old school.
You guys want to hear? You want to hear a fun fact about the word dick? Do you know what the first song to say the word dick on the radio was? I'm being serious. Like this.
Why do you know?
Because it's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's "Addicted" by Simple Plan. Have you ever heard that song?
No.
At the beginning of it, he goes, "I'm a dick. I'm a dick. I'm addicted to you," or something like that.
Oh, so it
and
worked.
it is like the first time that the word "dick" was like ever like
because it got around the
yeah. So anyway, sorry.
Random fact. Moving on.
Yep. I don't know who Dick Gregory is.
Don Rickles and Bob Newhart are both conjoined, and we
Didn't
recently.
Bob Newhart died recently, or am I thinking of somebody else?
Yes, he sure did. Rest in peace. Red Fox is on this list, which I appreciate as well. Big fan. Did you ever listen to his stand up or just Sanford and Son? Are you familiar with Red Fox?
Fucking Google.
What? Michael Googled Red Fox, and it brought up an image of a red fox,
so
the
funny.
animal.
Oh, that's funny.
No, not that Red Fox.
Not that one.
Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
But have you seen his stand-up before, or just?
I don't think so.
Okay. It would be jarring to you if you're familiar with him as Fred Sanford. His stand-up could not be more polar opposite. It's filthy.
Bro, these like legends. I didn't realize like all these legends were like
old.
Born in like the 20s, dude.
Yeah, dude.
This dude was born in 1922.
Yeah, well, he started really, he had been a successful stand-up and in movies and stuff, but really Sanford and Son is where he hit his peak, and he was well into his 60s by the time that happened. Similar with Rodney Dangerfield. He tried stand-up for a while, failed, went back to selling siding, like aluminum siding for houses.
Yeah.
And then
Said Rodney Dangerfield did.
he did, and then he got famous again at like 65 or something.
Red
he
Fox
wasn't famous.
died less than 2 months after he was married, and I don't listen.
Yeah, he had a lot of divorces, a lot of tax trouble, also a lot of different things. He was a very controversial fella.
Listen,
Dave Attell is on this list, which
Yep.
I also appreciate. Stephen Wright, hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Are you familiar with Stephen Wright at all?
I sure am.
Do you? Can we just take a second, because I think Stephen Wright is someone who I discovered much later in life. I wasn't really exposed to him as a kid, but some of his lines are so timeless. They're so stupid, but so silly.
He has not a lot of followers on Instagram.
A lot of his are just rhetoricals. Also, they're not really jokes. He just and his cadence. I searched top Stephen Wright quotes. Number one is, "What's another word for thesaurus?" That's just a joke. Like, that's literally his first thing. A lot of people are afraid of heights. Not me. I'm afraid of widths. Just randomness. Crazy.
Here's something I'm noticing while Googling all these comedians. A lot of comedians are born in December. I was also born in December, so.
I'm not. Experience is something you don't get until just after you need it. That's a pretty good one.
That's just life.
Yeah, some of his are more theological, I think.
I don't know the name of the comedian. I have to find it and I'll share it with you. I'm not gonna be
Everywhere is within walking distance if you have the time.
Not everywhere.
It's just stupid stuff.
I can't walk to Paris, you know?
You can, just a little walking on water in there.
Yeah.
Mort Saul is on this list, which is interesting. We're getting
Mort
really
Saul.
far back now. That's all the way back into the 50s.
He was born in 27. He died recently, too.
Way back. Bill Cosby is on this list, which he should be.
He should be for comic. Like, if you take the personality art, like.
Well, he's number 14 on this list of greatest stand-ups of all time, but he's number 1 on stand-ups who have drugged people. That's interesting.
I don't know I think he's number 1 of stand-ups who got caught drugging people. I don't know if he's
That's fair.
You know what
That's
I mean?
That's a separate list.
Yeah.
Stand-ups who got away with it.
Yeah.
We're talking about you, Greg Payne. Jerry Seinfeld, obviously, always on the list.
Also on the list of people. No, I'm just kidding.
Mitch Hedberg, usually on the list. Steve Martin is on this list, which I also
like Steve Martin.
Appreciate. Fantastic book on stand-up.
Steve Martin is I don't know if I mentioned this before. He is one of my parents' favorite.
Really?
Yeah, they love Steve Martin. Here's something fun about Steve Martin. He was born in Waco, Texas.
Why are you just Googling them as I'm saying them? Literally, this segment was, does Michael know these comedians?
Well, I know some of them, but
a lot of them,
a lot of them I have to see their face, you know?
Yeah. Eddie Murphy, do you have to see his face?
Eddie Murphy, is that the
Shut up.
Is that the Jewish comedian?
Yes.
Okay.
That's him. Yeah. Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Lenny Bruce. There's, all the reoccurring hits on here. Anyways, that's interesting. There's a few.
Is that all 25?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few that I figured you
there's none in the modern age though, and I don't know.
Tig Notaro, ironically, and Chappelle was on there too. Or the only two from I would say the modern age. I mean, I guess technically
I wouldn't even say Chappelle's really the modern age. Or
I mean, he's still putting out specials pretty regularly.
Yeah, but I guess. And Tig, I've never seen Tig do stand up. I only know her as an actress.
Not a big fan.
I literally only know her as an actress.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not a huge fan of hers. Big fan of. I've been on a Conan O'Brien kick lately. How do you feel about the big redheaded fella?
Like what do you mean? Like his stand up or just?
No, he doesn't do stand. He's never done stand up. He just I think I'll die on this hill. I think Conan is one of the most influential comedy
Michael David
persons who is not a stand-up. I think he's massively influential. Like when you look at his show, or every iteration, all 3 iterations of his show, including what he's doing now with, he's got a travel show on HBO and all these things. I just think, for me personally, when I was in high school, every single Wednesday night, I would come home and I would watch TBS and I would watch Conan. And that was my favorite. I would stay up to watch it. And I think it was on more nights than that. But for some reason, Wednesdays always stuck out to me. Maybe that's the night they had stand-ups on. I can't remember. So
think
many
that's right.
great stand-ups would come through there. So
Yeah.
many classic clips. We've talked about before the Jeff Dye, Rory Scovel
A lot of people
clip where they talk at the same time.
Yeah.
They come out and do their acts over top of each other.
A lot of people love a lot of comedians love Conan O'Brien
Absolutely.
for like the platform he gave him.
He also has an amazing podcast.
He does.
It's really, really fun.
Conan
and he's, like,
O'Brien, he
crazy
got
guest.
kicked out of. I mean, he was like kind of forced out of. What was the name of his show that he was on? Which late show was it?
Well, so he had late night
Late night.
first, and then he was named as the replacement for the Tonight Show initially, and he got it. Got it for a few months, under a year, I think, 9 months, and then they took it back and decided to give it to Jay.
Yeah, because
basically
Jay retired, and
Right.
then Conan got it, and then they get back to Jay.
And then Jay had a different show that was on at a different time slot that was getting its butt kicked, and he decided he wanted back on prime time. Basically, is kind of the spiel. There's an amazing documentary called, I think it's called Late Night Wars.
Yeah.
And you can see the evolution of like Johnny Carson in the early days. It was actually Jack Parsons first, or Jack Parr, and then Johnny Carson's, and then all of those iterations. And then there's a whole episode or two that focuses on the Conan Jay thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That comedian I was trying to find for us, who was like very funny, who like juggles and stuff. His
Yeah.
name is Michael Davis.
Boy, that was way off.
Do you know who that is?
I don't.
I've only ever seen his juggling act, but it's like I was like this is when I found him when I like just started in comedy about like getting my timing better. And he has and it's like the video I watched was like best timing you'll ever see in a comedic act, and that's what it is. Like, and I watched it, and it's like 6-7 minute clip, and it's like 10 out of 10.
There's
Very
a
funny.
dude, and I would love to shout this guy out, but it would be more effort for me to find him than it's worth. There's a dude who has a clip kind of blowing up right now that I've seen. One of the most unique things I've ever seen in stand-up. He has an audience member count down.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
I've seen that clip.
And then he says, whenever I point to you, yell out what number you're on.
Yeah,
The kind of, choreography, basically, that it takes to line up a bit like that in the way that he does. And
yeah.
I wish I knew a way to tell our listeners how
It's
to find
like
this
I know
clip.
what the big punchline of it is,
Right, but I don't wanna
but I
spoil
can't remember.
anything.
I can't remember like there's like 4 or 5 punchlines in it.
Yeah.
I remember what the big one is. I can't remember exactly what the other ones are.
So funny.
There was another one kind of similar that I saw, and this comedian, I don't know who he was. I think he was British. But he gave an audience member like a confetti popper.
Comedy's all about timing.
Ooh, is that the Michael Davis one?
No, this is Ryan Goodcase. Let me make sure that this is actually him that has posted it.
me
Yes, it
see
is.
it.
Ryan Goodcase.
Okay.
That's the guy. And the clip you can find, it's just called The Countdown. It's on YouTube.
It's a very
Go
funny.
watch it. It's
How
a
many
minute and a
views
half.
is that? How many views does that have?
Let me see here. Not a lot, actually.
Really? I saw it on
Um,
Instagram when I
yeah.
saw it.
I think it's blowing up more
On, like,
social
Instagram,
media.
TikTok.
13,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah, that's like it deserves like 1.3 million.
right. It's hilarious.
But anyway, so this comedian, he gives like a audience member like a confetti popper, and he's like, at any time during the show, you pop this.
Yes, I've seen it.
And when he sets it up, he's like, yeah, my mom died recently, and it just
Pop.
that
Yeah, and
man,
he's like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's
dude,
funny.
that was funny. I like seeing people doing unique. I know a lot of people. I don't know the
Yeah.
auto-tune guy's name. A lot of people are giving him shit, but
Oh no, we talked about him on the
I know,
show.
but he's
think.
doing
very
something.
funny. Yeah,
like,
yeah, he's on a couple lineups of people we know actually.
Really?
I just saw Nick Murphy is on a lineup with him.
what's his
singing, I
name?
think. Oh gosh, I would know if you didn't ask me.
Yeah. Well, like
very funny dude.
other people, there was a comedian on America's Got Talent a couple years ago, and he does like the PowerPoint
Mm-hmm.
comedy.
Right.
Dude, I love that.
I think I know who you're talking
that's
about.
so. There's an older guy. There's a couple people doing it now, but
Yeah.
the one I'm talking about was like the older guy. First one I ever saw do it.
One guy did that on Conan back when I was in high school. He had I'll never forget this. This is one of my favorite segments of Conan. It was a stand-up, but he had a whole bit about his roommate and how he tormented his roommate with these rubber ducks. And he had a slideshow about it, and it
Yeah.
just evolved to where there was just like thousands of rubber ducks, and it was very, very funny. Morgan J is the auto tune.
Is the auto-tune guy?
Yeah, very.
Yeah,
very
a lot of
funny.
people are giving him crap, but like,
Yeah,
I mean, he's doing something unique. Like the goal is to make the audience laugh. He's making the audience laugh. What's the big
I
deal?
think. See what you think about this analogy. I think that stand-up is obviously it's in a boom right now.
Yeah.
And it comes and goes. Regionally, nationally, it comes and goes. But one interesting thing is I think that stand-up on this particular boom has hit this level of, relevance and pop culture and attention to where it's starting to feel a little like hip hop in the early 2000s, where it's like this art form has been around just long enough now to where innovation is getting difficult.
Yeah.
Like everything's starting to feel derivative, all these things. Like it's hard to do something original. And in the case of the autotune guy, it's like, sure, maybe his writing isn't as strong as you prefer in your humor or stand-up comedy, but like he's doing something that clearly appeals to people.
Yeah, it's
and
working.
especially in the TikTok clip space,
That's
it is
what comedy is now.
right.
Comedy.
Well,
is a
he's
minute at a
figured out
time.
how to capitalize on where the attention span is, which is innovative to say the least. Yeah, I think that's important.
They do a show at Blue Ridge where we do minute jokes. It's like a competition thing. We have to do like a minute joke and like
knockout.
knockout. Thank you. I could not think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not like the idea of that at first, but like thinking about it, like to be a very successful comedian right now, your jokes have to be 90 seconds or less.
Yeah. I will say
To blow
knockout
up,
was knockout became in the early days of stand up for me especially, and it's hilarious to say because I'm only 2.5 years in now, but in the very early days, like first 6 months to a year, knockout was really my only chance at a non-open mic performance.
Yeah.
I wasn't really
Like
getting on
a sold
shows.
out or close to sold out show.
Right. With a substantial audience. That was really it. And so I found that actually was not good for me because it had, when I would sit down to write a joke, I would kind of subconsciously write it under a minute.
Yeah.
Because everything that
I
I
would trim it
wrote,
too
I
much.
thought, well, I could maybe use this on the next knockout.
I would trim it too much. I agree with that, but I think it's like for like people who have a little more experience, it's like, and I don't even think that was the intention of it. I think it's just the format of it, you know. But I think like that minute format is like, hey, you want to blow up? Like get some killers in a minute. Like Ryan Gordon, like he won the first knockout I was ever in, and I still cannot wait till we have him on.
Yeah,
but but it was a funny, like he did, I think it's 5 sets to win.
Mm-hmm.
So you do 5 minutes total,
right,
throughout the whole night,
right.
But those 5 minutes, or those 5 1-minute jokes were like
he's perfect.
10 out of 10.
Also, yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's perfect for that. Some comics, but also he's perfect for that in a sense of he does not have to adapt his style, his jokes, his writing, anything to that form. That's his style already. Yeah. Whereas like Pruitt has talked about, and I think on this show, that he is a storytelling comedian.
Yeah, he can't.
In order for him to do a minute, he has to shave and sacrifice and cut all this stuff, and he
has to take everything that makes Pruitt, he has to take out of the joke,
basically.
And so it's not
right
for like. Jared Hazen does very good on those as well because Jared does have longer form jokes, but most of his jokes, like his longer jokes, can kind of be trimmed down, or like they're not even. I say trimmed down, but it's really just he has longer jokes, but they just kind of flow really well. So he just kind of takes out the flowy parts of them and then just does the joke like.
He's also, and Pruitt's mentioned this on the show too, and this is, I think, a test of a good comic. Pruitt has a story that is a 2-minute story, a 5-minute story, and a 9-minute story.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the time he's doing, he can do that version of it. I think Jared's similar in that way. I've heard him do different versions of jokes, but people like Ryan Gordon or Joe Bridges is another one where it's like Joe can fit 7 jokes into a minute, whereas Pruitt has to shave 4 minutes off of it.
Pruitt can get like one punchline in a minute. Pruitt can get a setup, but it's like it's crazy because like a lot of people are like you want to have like laughs per minute, whatever. And while Pruitt may not have the most laughs per minute, his laugh, like his setup, is worth the payoff.
I think it's Dustin. I think Dustin Aaron has said it on the show before, and maybe Meredith too. They both quote this a lot. Of one of the comedians we had at Blue Ridge one time doing like a panelist type thing, like not a seminar, but what is it, like a Q&A type of thing with local comics. One of the things that they said, and I think it was Andy Sanford, if I'm not mistaken, had a analogy where he was talking about blowing up a balloon. And he's like, comedy's like blowing up a balloon. He's like, the more air you put into it, the bigger your pop's going to have to be. Yeah. So just make sure that the pop equals the amount of time you spend blowing air into it. And I think Pruitt's a perfect example of that, where there may not be a laugh for 90 seconds, but when it hits...
But he also keeps them engaged very well.
Oh, of course, yeah. Just because they're not laughing doesn't mean they're not listening.
That's the problem. Like some people, they'll have like a very funny joke, but the setup's not engaging. I have that problem.
Yeah.
I have a joke that I like a lot. Well, I don't really tell it anymore, but it's like it's a solid joke, but it just takes me so long to set it up that it's just not worth the payoff.
I think when I think of that, that's an interesting point you mentioned, like keeping them engaged without having them laughing. Brandy Augustus comes to mind for me of like her.
She got a good energy.
Her
about
persona, her energy, and her passion for whatever she's talking about. Read in such an honest way. Like, if you haven't seen her, if you don't know who we're talking about, she's a very funny comedian friend of ours. She's been on the show.
She's been on the show 3 times, I think now.
Many times. She's from Knoxville, very funny, and she has a lot of material based in her life experience as well as her kids. You know, things about her kid being transgender, and there's some pretty serious tones and real moments kind of slipped in between the laughs where she's drawing you in, and even though you're not laughing, you're on the edge of your seat listening to whatever she's delivering. And then when she switches. Quick too, and she'll switch and have you laughing at the same scenario. That's an interesting style. I think that's something that no matter your style, you should be able to do that.
That's why I like Hasan Minhaj so much. Like you know, you kind of gave me like you're like I don't know what is your favorite, but like if you watch,
he's
him,
just not mine.
But if you watch him, like it's like ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
the most serious topic,
right?
And then you just have to sit in the seriousness for a second, and then he. I hope that snap picked up, but
it's
I don't know.
It's a real skill to hook them in like that. But I think also that's not something that everybody does. Like obviously, we just read a couple quick quotes from Stephen Wright. That's a different thing. You're doing that's what makes not only stand up but this show so interesting and so difficult at times. Is every time we have a guest in here, we try to let them shine and be the guest. Sometimes I feel like we don't. Me in particular, I'll talk right over you. Or guests, but they're very funny, and we want to showcase them, and they're all so different. You know, we've had 30-something guests. I don't even know 40-something guests in here, probably.
So many people have been
so
to my
many,
house. I don't know.
The diversity is crazy, really, as far as what makes them funny, what makes them special. I mean, when you think about like Tyler Gallant sat in this chair. Versus Corey Day.
I don't know if I said it last week, but it was really good to see you, Tyler. If you're listening, you're not, but it was very good to see you when I was in Austin.
I love him. I drove to Knoxville to see him last time he was in town. He's the best. But just the difference, you know, we've had like Grampy in here, we had Phil Ketron in here, and the difference between what he does to be funny on stage and what Brandy Augustus does to be on stage is day and night.
It is,
but they're both doing stand up, and that I think that's unique.
I love, that is something I like about comedy. It's like your only goal is to make them laugh. However you get them to laugh is, you know,
which I think goes back to the auto-tune guy that we were talking about. Where it's like he's getting the laugh. You just, you know, people say things like
you may not like how he's doing it, but he's doing it.
Cheap laugh, you hear that a lot in stand up. Oh, he just gets cheap laughs. Or clapter, I hear that one a lot, and I mean. I've used that term to describe other comedians as well, and I think in some cases, I don't personally appreciate when a comedian goes for clapter. But that is
But if you're getting a response and the audience is having a good time, then it doesn't, like that's...
Right.
Okay, I've talked a lot of shit about Matt Rife on this podcast, right? some of it funny, some of it funny, some of it like actually serious. I am funnier than him, but you know, that's for you, Justin. Anyway,
42 minutes in.
Yep. I just to be clear, I don't honestly think that, but people,
that's not what the tapes show.
People give Matt Rife a lot of shit.
You sure do.
I do. I do.
Go on.
I do. But he does make people laugh.
Did you see he has a crowd work special coming to Netflix?
Thank God.
What a smart move.
And I will watch that.
Absolutely.
I will watch
when
that.
I saw that, I meant to text you because I think what a brilliant move. First of all, to my knowledge,
that's the crowd work. I think his crowd, I don't think there is a comic, an active comedian doing crowd work better than him.
Yeah.
I truly don't think that. Like, I see crowd work on...
I don't know about that. There's some good ones.
Listen, I see crowd work on Instagram all the time, and it's funny.
There's
don't
a lot
get me
that
wrong.
you don't see, though. Like Sam Talent.
I know.
It's not even close.
I know. But listen, like,
it's not even close.
Matt Rife in that room seeing it happen live, it was like... Yeah. Because, you know, I think people, like, think, oh, like, how many people did he have to talk to before he got to the funny one? No.
Every
single person he talked to was the biggest laugh of the night. And so that I'm excited for.
The only thing that makes me dismiss that in a way is that I've heard you tell the story on the show and off the show, and I'm sure most of our listeners know. When you saw him, he did about an hour of material and bombed.
Did about 50 minutes of material.
Okay, we're going to transition into crowd work.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw Sam Talent, it was, and this is a year plus later now, but I can say this with full clarity. It was absolutely seamless. Not one time did we know, is he doing material? Is he doing crowd work? For an hour and a half, he leveled.
He
room
didn't
full of
say he was
mostly
transitioning.
comics.
He didn't say he was transitioning. He just did.
Right, but
Yeah,
also,
but
I
yeah.
mean, I think it's pretty easy for the
Yeah.
crowd to deduce, oh, that was all material, this is now
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah.
With Sam, it was, nobody knew what the fuck was going on
Yeah.
the entire time.
Yeah, and I'm not taking that. And listen, I think I've never seen Sam Talent live, but I think Sam Talent better all around comedian.
I want to see him so bad.
Easy to say better all around comedian. It's easy to say a lot of people are better all around comedians.
Sure. Yeah. But I
But,
think the
like-
crowd work special is an interesting approach because
Yeah.
obviously he's good at that. He's known for that, and he's
And crowd working is its own
mhm.
talent. I don't have that talent. I cannot crowd work at a high level.
It's hard. It's
I
very
can't do it. You know, and you'll
You
hear
just
other
haven't tried as much. I mean, you just got to force yourself to do it.
you'll hear other comedians like you'll hear like Nate Bargatze. He was this happened
Mhm.
on the Nate Land podcast recently. They were talking about it, and obviously he's selling out arenas now. You don't crowd work arenas and as easily, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But he was talking about even whenever he was in clubs, like he just doesn't like to crowd work. Like it's just not what he does.
Well,
and
that
he just
makes
doesn't
sense.
like
It doesn't fit with his vibe.
But yeah,
I guess.
it's just a different skill set that like
Yeah.
Matt Rife. And like, here's the thing. There's a big thing that, and we talked about this on Brandy, actually, Brandy and Justin last time.
Mhm.
I think it was last time they were here, about people using like ChatGPT to help with write
We
their
did,
jokes
yeah.
and stuff like that. And I do kind of want to have, I have more thoughts on that now. So I do kind of want to talk to you
Mhm.
about that. But when like somebody's doing just crowd work, that's
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like some of it is sure you can prepare, like
Yeah.
really good crowd work you prepare, but like some stuff like that kid, like that joke that I told that he said, like he didn't prepare that. Dude, that was
Yeah.
such a
Right.
such a
Do
unique
you
joke. There's no way he
There's a
could have
comedian
prepared
named Ari Maddy. Do you know Ari?
that. I think so.
He's been on Kill Tony a bunch lately. He's the Estonian guy. He's from Estonia.
I think I'm thinking of a different comedian actually.
You're
so
thinking of Ari Shafir, maybe.
I might be thinking of Ari Shafir.
Yeah, no, this is Ari Maddy. He is from Estonia, which is a formerly communist tiny
Okay.
country on the edge of Russia. Very funny dude, and he has found a real place at Kill Tony. Like he's very successful
Yeah.
through those episodes. He's on like a temporary visa, so they're trying to get him famous enough to let him stay in 8 months, all this stuff. He's hilarious, and he was just on Rogan, and they were talking about this topic with ChatGPT, and Ari said something that I've never heard a comic bring up before about that, and he said, you know, a lot of comics are scared when they talk about ChatGPT that it's going to make stand-up obsolete. That, oh, well, then you won't need a comedian. I hear that a lot.
I don't think it's gonna make stand up.
Well,
finish. I have a thought on that. Yeah.
There's different arguments for why that's not true. I've heard a lot of comics take a very strong stance on that. What I've never heard is what Ari said, and he said, if ChatGPT does take over, then the comic has the ability to reflect on that and how fucked up that is. And he's like, you're never going to be able to top that. Like, that's
Yeah.
why stand-up will always exist, because even the comic at that point would be able to go, I don't even have a job anymore. Isn't that crazy, ChatGPT? And that is going to be the new laugh. And he's like, so you can't outsmart the art form. Literally, it's the art form is reflective on what's happening.
No, I don't think. I think that's a crazy outlook that ChatGPT is going to take comic jobs.
I think it's
There's
mostly
always-
non-comics that bring that up, and I think it's a lot of clickbait. I don't think
There's-
anyone really feels that.
There's okay. Listen. All right. You get have ChatGPT write me a 15-minute set. Have
Mhm.
ChatGPT write somebody else like
Yeah.
who does not do comedy.
Mhm.
15-minute set.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do better than that comic. There's still an
Maybe.
art. There's still an art to actually being on the stage, having the timing, having the
I think the
confidence to be on the
concern
stage.
is more the future of AI, not necessarily where it exists now.
No, I get that too. People
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, well, it's just gonna do."
As
people,
it advances.
people still want to see live,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So there's still gonna be a place for live comedy.
Mhm.
There's still gonna be a place for live music. There's still gonna be whatever. Is it gonna be more streamlined and how music? I mean, there was a bunch of controversy. Taylor Swift's most recent album. A bunch of people are like, "Oh, she used AI to write that," right? But she's still selling out.
Yeah.
She's still making $1 billion a year
Well, the
selling
live
out fucking
argument
arenas.
is a human experience. Like, for anybody who's ever, my girlfriend's a perfect example. Before we got together, she'd never been to a concert. She'd never seen,
Yeah, never been to a
live-
concert either.
nope, never seen
Damn.
live music and never seen live comedy.
I knew that.
So
but,
yeah. Right. So the first time she came to the club, it was probably just an open mic or something. And she's like, okay, I kind of get. Then, we go see Tom Segura in Bridgetown Arena. And she's like, there's just, even in an arena of 10,000 people, there's this weird human thing where our brains are all kind of one. We're all looking in a certain
Hive-minded.
direction. Right. We're hive-minded. And it's a similar thing at a concert. Now, she actually is crazy lucky. Her first concert was Zach Bryan, which is the best concert ever. And then after that, like 2 weeks later, was Greta Van Fleet. Another like
I was gonna say it was like all within the last couple months.
two of
wasn't
the
it?
top performing artists in the world. So good that she's like, I get the concert thing now. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of concerts where you would not feel that way. Also, you know,
I've been to a bad concert. I've been to a. Did I tell you the?
Who's the worst concert you've ever been to?
Have I not told the Tyler the Creator story?
Oh
on this
no,
podcast?
you did at the Orange Peel.
Yeah. I was gonna say yeah.
I think we talked about that when I came back from Greta. But no, so yeah, it's definitely hive mind is a good word for it. Where it's like we're all sharing this experience, and obviously some people are getting different things out of it. I think I mentioned during the Tom Segura show there was this fucking old dude that was playing music through his phone, like through his Pandora the whole time, and everybody was like, "Turn it off," and he was like, "It's not me, damn it!" Like he was mad. It's 70, just his phone playing.
Well,
music.
that's
annoying.
70 years of lead poisoning.
Yeah, just annoying. Eating on uranium glass his whole life. The worst.
Just eating the lead-based paint in his house growing up. Yeah.
It happens. But no, that's interesting. I think the AI topic is something that I would actually really enjoy having somebody in here who knows a little more about that. I think Dustin Aaron may be a candidate for
I'm a little passionate about it right now. I'm utilizing it at a pretty high level for some other stuff in my life. I've not used it for comedy.
You're letting it do your job for you?
I've not no. It's helped me
you heard it here first, Keller Williams.
It's helped me analyze some data.
Oh, sure.
And then I regurgitate it.
It has tons of great uses. I don't fear it taking over.
I don't fear it taking over, but let me ask you this, because I'm not going to name this person. You do know them. I'll tell you later.
I'll name it.
But no, because they said something that I don't feel like it's appropriate to put out into the world, like name them. But they were talking about how they were at this place and there's a bunch of comedians, and it was very clear that a lot of them used ChatGPT, right? And I don't like that, but like just to completely write their jokes, they did nothing. But let me ask you this.
How is it clear? Did they say, or are they assuming?
Okay. Have you ever... so if I see a ChatGPT written like Facebook post or tweet or whatever, I know it's, or an email, I can tell.
I don't think I do.
I can 90% of the time tell.
Mostly because my online presence is zero. I don't post and ghost.
I can 90% tell because it's very non-original. Right? Okay. Now there's a point where like if I have ChatGPT type something up for me now, you cannot tell because you can train it and it can know you, but like
which is scary.
Inorganic. Well, you still have to tweak it. I never copy and paste. I still have to change words, still have to tweak it, but
the rough outline is there.
Yeah, the rough outline is there. Like, hey, help me make a Facebook post about it, whatever.
Right.
So I do stand on the thing where I don't think it's fair to have ChatGPT write a joke for you. But what do you think of? I have a really long joke about that guy driving to Texas, right? And I swear to God, I've not done this. But like, what do you think of like, hey, help me tighten this joke up? What do you think of that? Like, is that cheating or do you think that's legit? Because I don't know.
I think that this is a conversation that is only... The conversation's only existed for such a fraction of time that you're going to get very opinionated answers.
I want your opinion. And like, you can change your opinion. You can change your opinion in the future when more stuff come up.
My personal opinion right in this moment is I would consider myself somewhat of a purist.
Okay.
In the form that I personally feel that going to another comedian and say, if I came to you and said, hey, I have this joke, it's a little long, can you help me tune it down? I don't even really like that.
Okay, then that was how I was going to challenge you. Right. I was going to be like, well, what do you think of this?
It's not that I think it's cheat. I wouldn't use any labels like the word cheating or unfair or, lazy. I wouldn't put any... Me personally, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
But no judgment to anyone who does.
That's kind of like, I don't know where I've never done it, and I don't know where I'm at with it.
And here's why. Also, I want to say this as far as the ChatGPT argument. Here's why I personally don't or wouldn't currently do it, is because it has nothing to do with laughs. It has nothing to do with honor or like a code or art. I mean, it has some to do with the art form and respecting the art form. But the biggest thing for me is it would take the only thing that I get out of stand-up, the confidence of knowing I did this.
Yeah, it
would take that away. To some degree.
I get that.
Because in my head, I would know that I did that.
Well, here's like, and again, I've never done it. I just really want to know somebody else's opinion. Like, it's still, and I'm not saying it wrote your joke. Like, hey, this is a premise, but like, I'm not saying it wrote your joke for you. I'm saying you wrote the joke.
Sure.
You're
using it as a tool
to tighten it.
Right.
Or to
I think that's
punch
personal
it up
discretion.
slightly.
I think for me personally, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't have any problem with people who do.
Yeah, I don't know like how I feel about it. Like I've not done it, and
But
I don't
also,
feel like I don't want to do it because I don't know. But like I don't know because I look at it as the same as like I have one of my favorite punchlines right now. Joe Bridges gave me in my set. Joe Bridges just
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Hey, you should try this. But like, is that different?
To me, it is.
How?
To me, it is. The example I would use is like my opener and several of my self-deprecating jokes have been sourced from either other comics fucking around after shows, before shows, or the roast battle. You know, like Casey.
I mean, my opener is something that Travis Stevenson looked at me and said. Right. No, I'm sorry. It was Pruitt, I think.
Still,
they both. I have one of each.
I don't have a problem with that because it feels organic. It's not like I went to Corbin LeMaster, who roasted me one time and gave me my opener, and said, "Hey, say something mean about me. I need an opener."
Yeah.
It wasn't prompted. It
was natural.
It was natural. It was in the moment. It was actually him turning to Haley and going, "You're attracted to this fucking guy, even though he looks like he has a trans beard, or looks like he's transitioning to male." And so what he said is not what I say, but what he said sparked
the idea.
But
like my thought is like, okay, so I'll tell the Texas joke because it's shit, and I've been telling it for 2 years now. So the joke is like, I'm not gonna do the whole because but you know, guy met a girl on Tinder, drove to Texas to meet her, didn't go well. He drove back. Can you believe this bitch I matched with? Right?
Yeah, right.
That's probably how I should tell the joke. Probably funnier on stage than
that's kind of it. Yeah, there it is.
That was a 10-second version of
just learned
minute and a half joke.
Yeah.
But like my thought is like I have that joke. I have that. It was sparked. I've thought of all the punchlines. I know where the punchlines are. It's just too long. So like,
to go back to your original question, I would
what's wrong with tightening it?
I would prefer that you tighten it by sitting in a room of stand-ups that you trust.
Yeah.
And saying, "Hey guys, I'm really having a hard time polishing this down. What do you guys think?" For some reason, and I'm not saying that I'm correct in this. Me personally, I would prefer you do that than turn to an AI computer program.
But like, what's the difference? You know, I've never done it. Like I said, I've never done it. I just don't know what the difference is anymore.
I don't know that there is one. I just think for me personally, it feels less inauthentic. It feels more organic, authentic, artistic even, I would use the word.
I think that.
Using a computer program kind of takes... okay, here's another example. So in my job right now, I got this new promotion at work. I'm the creative designer for my company. And so all day, every day, I'm putting out flyers, posters, social media posts, all these things that represent the brand and different announcements for whatever. Closures on holidays, big events coming up, charity events, internal flyers, cleaning toilets, all that stuff. I could and have. Photoshop has a function now called generative fill. All you do is you drag a little square on your workspace and then you click generative fill and it says, "What would you like to put here?" And you say, "Sharks playing poker underwater." Click. In 30 seconds, there's sharks playing poker underwater. Whatever you can name. There it is. Could I do that? Yes. Do I do that? No. Not always. In some cases, I do if I'm looking for a very specific thing. But as far as using it to do my job for me, I don't. And it's not because I love my job and want to do things the hard way. It's that if I were to do that, I feel like personally I'm losing something. That feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of I did this and people like it. Like if I pass that draft off and it's all AI generated and everybody's like, "This looks great. Great job." I don't internalize those praises at all.
But there's still a skill to using that stuff.
No, there's not. Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore.
No, there is, dude.
Clicking generative fill.
No, but like
not.
Prompting it correctly and like,
there's
but still a skill.
Marginally, like a fraction of the takeaway.
Okay, so like people had
it's selfish, really. My logic is selfish.
People were having this same argument when like self checkouts were coming, and we're like, it's gonna take the job. Blah, 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 blah. But how much more efficient are those?
Incredibly so.
Is that not the same?
If you know how to use it, which is what you're saying.
Is that not the same?
No, I don't think so. Because, well, this maybe somebody would disagree. I don't think that bagging groceries is an art form.
No, and I'm not saying that it is, but it's like anything like
I think when you're dealing with art,
there's always innovations, dude. Having an electronic keyboard That's innovation. Is that not different than a standard keyboard?
It is, but it's not writing the music for you.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
I think we're getting into the weeds here.
Let me be very clear to you and the audience. I will never agree with it. Like,
right, you're just kind of playing devil's advocate, which is an important part of the conversation.
I never want it to like, you just like, hey, write a joke for me, right?
Right.
I don't want that. I have done that for not stand-up stuff. I have done that for like, I did like real estate, dumb real estate jokes because like.
Yeah,
right?
If you used AI to write your jokes, you'd probably be a lot funnier.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I want you to know I said that because on that same phone call with my mom, she was like, you need to lighten up on Michael. And I was like, what? And she was like, you're really mean to Michael. Like every time you say something mean and the energy changes, and when I'm listening, it makes me sad for him. And I was like, I'm going to be so much harder on Michael now.
Oh, I'm okay.
Because my mommy told me to leave you alone.
Don't worry.
Dude, I'm going to go hard.
I'm going to have my mommy call you and tell you to leave me alone.
Leave him. He's crying.
I'm going to have my mom be here. I'm going to have my mom be here whenever you get here next week to record.
Kayla's going to pull me to the side and be like, he cries at night. He cries all the time.
That would be even funnier if my wife told you to leave me alone than my mom told. Yeah.
I want to. This is deep. This is more for you in the room than our listeners. They don't care. Show's almost over. Nobody's listening. But there's an episode. I love the show Your Mom's House. Tom Segura and his wife. Love it. It's my favorite pod. Me and Haley look forward to it every week. They had Duncan Trussell on this week, who is by and far one of my favorite fucking people on planet Earth.
Because you love Dunkin' Donuts. I get it.
I love Dunkin' Donuts. I'm fat. But love Duncan Trussell. He's from Asheville also, and like I know some people who have been on. Rain talked about she was on an open mic with him once, which was crazy. Very funny dude. They were doing this gag throughout the show where basically Duncan was saying that in order to become a stronger man, he's been going on these retreats, but it's not like a relaxation retreat. It's the opposite. It's where people just scream at you and tell you what a pussy you are and like how you're not a real man.
Yeah.
Very funny. And it goes on for like 30 minutes. They're doing this and he's talking about, and he said something that made me howl. And I don't know why. I think you'll think this is funny. He said, he's like, how some people talk about waking up screaming and they're like, yeah. And he goes, I just scream all through the night now. Just the whole time. And he goes, I have to sleep in this soundproof coffin. Actually, it's like a coffin in my room and I just scream all night. And they're like, and when you wake up, do you feel refreshed? And he goes, I feel great. I feel amazing when I wake up. And like, they kept this bit going on for 30 fucking minutes about him being a real man from these stupid retreats. I think it's so funny because one of the things that I think stand-up in particular, just honestly probably like any art form, it comes with a little bit of machismo. Yeah. In a way, a little bit of that energy of do better, step up, which honestly I respond to. Like Justin Mays is kind of my guy who will go, hey, you're really not doing much right now. You need to hit shit harder and get on it. And I know that he's told me he has voices in his life that repeat the same thing to him. And so because he's appreciative of that, he passes that on. And that kind of tough love angle I respond to. But sometimes it goes beyond that. Right. Sometimes it does go beyond that, though, where like I've had interactions with other comics, one in particular that I felt like it's my fault. I created this dynamic between he and I, but I started receiving a lot of unprompted advice. I didn't ask you to correct me. I didn't ask you to tell me what to do to fix my stand-up or my podcast or whatever it is, and now you're giving it out. And again, I want to take full responsibility in saying I probably set up that dynamic because in the early days especially, this person saw me go up for the very first time, was already established, is still much funnier than me. And so they felt comfortable coming to me and giving me advice. Whereas now that I'm starting to achieve certain goals of mine or getting a little, I don't take offense to it so much as
leave me alone.
Sometimes it's just like, right, like one particular instance was involving this show, and I kind of tore his head off a little bit, and I apologize. We worked it out later, but
you were also having a very, very bad day.
Right, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know.
Yeah, that was terrible time, terrible episode.
You were, and you were having a not good day that day.
No, that was one of the worst. One of the worst for sure, and a lot, but so that unprompted advice I think kind of slips towards what I'm talking about of like that machismo, that I know more than you mentality that kind of seeps into stand. Do you think that's present in other art forms as well? I mean, like musicians are probably like,
oh yeah,
you suck at guitar.
Everywhere.
Right.
It's not even just art. It's like
business,
my work, dude. Like people will be like, oh, you should have done this. I'm like, I don't remember.
I think that feeling is so foreign to me that it's hard for me. Like I've had myself in situations where a younger, like Michael Mullen has come to me on, and I'm sure he probably wouldn't mind me saying, has come to me before and just asked my opinion on either a joke he's had or where he's at in stand-up, how can he get booked, different things, because you and I started a little before him. And so he's
Michael Mullen actually started before me.
It is so, or I started a little before him, yeah. It is so uncomfortable for me to dole out advice. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
So I'll say this. I'll play Angel's advocate on this one.
Okay.
So Michael Mullen actually was probably my first friend at Blue Ridge, but you were like the first like person I really looked for.
Yeah.
For like as a mentor role.
Coming in, right.
Coming in. And like I do think that is important. And I think if you establish those relationships, as long as they recognize the relationship. Right. You know, like you, Jared, Travis, Joe, if I ever get off stage and there's others, but those are Meredith, right? If I get off stage and you tell me like, oh, you should have done this. Like,
right.
I will say on the flip side of it.
But you don't take it personal.
I did have one time I got off stage. I kind of bombed as an open mic, whatever. And whenever I do open mics, I always start with a joke that I know works. And that's how I gauge the rest of my set.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I do a joke,
it's a smart move.
If I do a joke,
most of the time
that I know is supposed to get a laugh, that is tried and true, and it doesn't get a laugh, then I don't take the rest. I mean, I do take it seriously, but I don't like.
You're not taking as big as swings.
Well, like if I start with a joke that I know is tried and true, right?
Yeah.
Like I look like Captain America for the Super Soldier Serum.
Yeah.
It's a stupid, quick one-liner. That's why I always open with it.
Yeah.
But it always gets a laugh. It never does not get a laugh. If that doesn't get a laugh, then the rest of the set is like fucking. I don't like. I'm not going to take it serious whenever the new joke doesn't bomb. I will try the new joke again, right? That's kind of how, and I don't know if that's right.
Well, I think you should always do that. But here's what I would say in response to that is knowing you very personally and knowing your schedule as far as comedy is concerned and what you, the mics you do, the shows you do, your audience is predominantly the same.
Yeah.
Every time you're on stage, I'd say 6 out of 10 people are always there.
Yeah.
If not more than that. And so starting with a tried and true joke could result in a bomb because those 6 people have heard that tried and true joke
1,000
every
times.
week.
Well, here's what I was going to say.
If you're in Nashville, that's different.
That joke murdered in Nashville.
Right.
That open mic. Good. That open mic I did, I did too. The first one still sucked. Like it sucked for me. It was actually a really cool open mic. I just went so late. That one that I did, I went like
that's a true
5th.
Test of material though. When you're in a different city, nobody knows.
That was one of the best sets I've had.
Which means that your set is good. It's just tired here.
Yeah. But anyway, so what I was saying though, if I do that, and I did this one set, it was open mic, and it didn't go well. And I was trying some new stuff in it, and I got off stage, and a comic I'd never seen, I got off stage. Yeah. He tried to critique some of my tried and trues and was like, you should change this to this. And
it does
come to find out, it was his like second time ever doing comedy. And I was like, all right, dude.
Well, also, and I think we're at the point in the world where I can say this. Some people are just fucking retarded also.
Yeah. Can you say that now?
Clip it. I don't care. I'll say some people are just fucking retarded. Clip it again. That's true. Some people have this weird lack of social awareness where they've never met you. They've been up twice, and they'll come up to you and tell you what you could be doing better.
Yeah.
That's an insane
And then they
person.
go up and they just eat it.
That's an insane person.
And listen, I don't root for people to bomb unless it's you. No offense, but like I love you. And I
kind of get it. I kind of get it.
I love it's so fun watching your friends bomb. Right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like, I don't want like somebody I don't know to bomb. I want everyone that I don't know.
I prefer to watch some people bomb than crush.
Well,
Greg, I love watching Greg.
Oh yeah. Well, but we love Greg.
I love it.
Andrew, those two take bombing the best.
I just like to watch them sweat.
Yeah,
it's fun.
But like somebody I don't know, and they're like, "Oh, it's my first time." I'm like, "Dude, go crush it. Go, just go find out why we sick in the head bastards are doing this."
Yeah, yeah.
But then whenever they do shit like that, I'm like, "Nah, dude." Go be humbled real quick.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Go learn. And if they come back, I like them. If they don't, I don't have anything against them.
A lot of the new guys, too, which, I mean, I haven't experienced much. I haven't really been hitting mics. I'm going to go tonight is the plan. It'll be my first mic in a couple weeks,
I think I'm going to start hitting a little magic.
I might do that, too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It's just kind of where I'm at. But I think sometimes with new people, it's also a lack. I try to give them some understanding. It is a lack of awareness for this world that they're barely dipping their toe into, and it's not that they don't have respect for it yet. It's that they couldn't possibly understand. You know, like if you're going up for the first time and you are sitting in the back and you see other comedians who know each other go up to each other and go, hey, you should try this, then you probably in your head go, oh, so we workshop, we fuck around. And then you come up to me and you go, hey, you should try. And I've had that. I've had people I've never seen again come up and tell me, you should try this instead of that. And in some cases, maybe it works. And I listen when they say it, but 9 times out of 10, or maybe even more than that, it's nonsense.
Dude, there's a joke. It's a very early joke I have. It's the punchline about the bowling pin I have?
7-10 split.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Do you know where I got that?
A stranger?
Complete
Never seen him
stranger. Not even at the club.
Oh.
I was talking to I don't even remember who. I was walking into the club, or I was on the phone or something.
Somebody just walked by.
Somebody was like, "You have a joke about bowling pins?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "She mentioned 7-10 splits," and I'm like, "That's so fucking stupid." And then I thought about it, and I was like,
shout out to that guy.
"Yeah, some random dude is right in front of."
And that guy was Matt Rife, and that's
yeah, that was Matt. Right.
Full circle.
Yeah. No, that was some random dude right in front of 620. Like, I was in the downtown part. But
Good
yeah.
times. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to my home club.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, let's wrap it up. Michael Rose Comedy on Instagram, Threads. NLB_423 on Instagram.
Absolutely. And in Booher Comedy on TikTok, you can find some of our fun
You really
show
should
clips
have
there.
them all the same.
No. I'm working on it. I'm thinking about it.
Should I promote something that I'm working on pretty hard for real estate? It's like social media stuff. It's just called Moving to JC. It's on it's on Instagram.
Oh, that's cool.
It's on YouTube.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm posting a bunch of like
Restaurants.
I did do restaurants. That video bombed.
Believe it or not, restaurants is what makes people move. I swear to God.
That was the worst. Do you want to hear something like it blew my mind? That was the worst video I have ever, like, performance-wise, was the worst video
It's
I've
probably not
ever
related
uploaded.
to the video itself. It's probably timing. Or
It could have been. But I did do, and I kind of briefly talked about it. I talked about getting real estate jokes from ChatGPT. I mean, I'll be very open. Like, it's a bunch of one-liners. Some of them I've seen before. I did write a couple of them. It's 7 jokes. I wrote 3 of the 7. The other 4 were helped with ChatGPT. But I do upload.
Well, it's something you don't care about. Like,
it's like I'm making.
You're not hanging your hat on your real estate material.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so on the Moving to JC Instagram and YouTube channel, it's gonna be slightly different content, a lot of overlap content, but how I run those social medias is I do have my comedic influences in there. So, like, whether you're just interested, I'd appreciate a follow, some shares. It just helps
It's
a long
called
way.
Moving to JC.
Moving to JC. But I did have
That's a good idea.
I did upload a video the other day. That was an open house video, but it had in my opinion, a very funny skit in the middle of it.
I think I saw a clip of it.
The one of me sitting on the toilet.
Oh no, I didn't.
That's you should watch
I have
it.
to go watch it
It's
now.
a very funny skit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Moving to JC.
Moving to JC, I would appreciate the follows,
Yeah.
and if you share, just know that I will hug you when I see you for helping me grow my world to be able to reinvest. Because a lot of the money I make, we don't make money doing this. Money I make in my day job,
Not at all.
We do reinvest into the podcast at times. So
and also we, some of the clips that I have ready to go and stuff or I've been working on will be out soon too. We don't post as regularly as maybe we should, but they're out there and you can find them. So share them. There'll be new stuff coming soon. And then last thing is Don't Tell. Don't Tell Tri-Cities. Our next show is Saturday, September the 14th. That's going to be in Johnson City as well. I'm between 2 venues, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little outside of downtown where we normally are. So that's exciting. First time venue.
What's that? What day you say? September 14th?
Saturday, I believe it's the 14th.
Yeah. I think that's
Saturday, September. It is, 14th. That's going to be a headliner from Chattanooga. He's a wonderful friend of ours. Hopefully, going to try to get him and maybe his feature on the show while they're here as well.
Awesome.
Wonderful dudes. Going to be a whole lot of fun. That's going to be a good one. And then coming up after that, just 2 weeks after that, is the show that I have thought about for 9 months. I have basically wished my entire year of 2024 away waiting for the date of September 28th. So I can promise you that there will be a lot of attention and a lot of investment on my part into making that show special.
What city is that one in?
Technically, that is in Bluntville, Tennessee.
Okay.
That is where that is technically.
Bluntville
going
is
to be.
for the people who do not live around here.
Yeah.
The one Austin, Texas listener we have.
Tyler.
Bluntville is like a suburb of Bristol.
It is.
So
Bluntville is between Bristol and Johnson City, where we typically have our shows. It's about halfway between the two. This particular spot is about halfway between the two.
Yep.
So it's going to be special. I've already spoiled it on the show. If you've listened before, you already know. If you don't,
he very subtly
just
spoiled it,
fucking
which was funny to
be
me.
there. I mean, literally just be there. It's it's going to sell out. It's very few seats just due to the venue. It's tough to provide seating. So
If you go back and listen, I don't even know what episode it was, but there's an episode where he very subtly spoils it. And I look at him like, should I cut? Like, I look at him and I'm like, should I cut this out?
Yeah.
Then after you're like, nah, we're fine.
I'm like, just leave it. I think it's 2 episodes ago. Either way, September 28th, September 28th. Be there.
Yep.
Be there.
And this will be out. It doesn't matter. You guys aren't
Soon.
listening anymore.
Yeah, plenty of time for that.
Yeah.
I'm booked up through October. I've got a fun little trip planned for this upcoming week as well. I'll be up in Lexington, Kentucky, doing a show I can't tell you about up there. So we're going to do that. And I'll tell you after. And then I've got some Knoxville dates. I've got a lot of fun stuff planned for the fall. I'm going to be hitting it hard in the fall. So more dates coming soon.
Before we wrap it up, I have to fart. I thought you were going to laugh. Dang.
No, I'm just afraid he's going to actually do it. But there's our episode name. Michael Farts.
No, I don't like that. All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks
We
for
love you
listening.
all.
Love you.
Bye.
Yeah.